You look like the president too.
Oh, I doubt it.
Yeah, you do.
Welcome, everyone, to our regularly scheduled City Council session of February 2nd, 2026. If you would, please stand with me for a pledge and invocation. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you for another beautiful day in Lake City. And Lord, please give us the wisdom to guide this organization to best serve the people present and in the future of Lake City. Cast a net of safety, opportunity, and vision over our community and help us to serve those who need us most. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. We will now have our roll call. Ms. Sykes?
Councilmember Jernigan,
Present.
Councilmember Harris,
Present.
Councilmember Young,
Here.
Councilmember Carter,
Present.
Mayor Walker,
Here.
City Manager Rosenthal,
Here.
City Attorney Martin,
Here.
Chief Butler.
Thank you, Ms. Sykes. Ladies and gentlemen, the excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lake City Council has opened its public meeting. Since 1968, the City Code has prohibited any person from making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks or becoming boisterous while addressing the City Council. Yelling or making audible comments from the audience constitutes boisterous conduct. Such conduct will not be tolerated. There's only one approved manner of addressing the City Council, and that is to be recognized and then to speak from the podium. Failure to abide by the rules of decorum will result in removal from the meeting. I will now, we'll now move on to approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, move to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? All right. We will move on to proclamations and recognitions, and Ms. Young, we'll turn it over to you. We'll meet up front. You want to introduce, what is it?
This is from Mayor Walker, and I'm presenting this on behalf of Ms. Bernice Presley and the Presley Excel and Scholars Program.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And it reads 18th Annual Presley Excel and Scholars Program Incorporated, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. 97th Birthday Observance, Certificate of Appreciation presented to Mayor Noah Walker for leadership, service, dedication, spiritual guidance, patience, intelligence, and an outstanding role model for the youth and the community. You are truly someone special. That's what she is. January 18, 2026, New Day Springs Missionary Baptist Church, Reverend Al Nelson, pastor, Ms. Bernice D. Presley, sponsor and or youth advisor, staff members Glenn Glenise, Sharon, Debbie, Idrissa, Sage, Dara, and Travis.
Surprise.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Speech.
Yeah, my ears are hot. I appreciate that. If Ms. Presley, you're watching, I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be part of that ceremony. All right. We will now move on from proclamations and recognitions into public participation. We have several people signed up, so I will go in order that they signed up and begin with you, Ms. Barbara Limley.
Can I hold it till the topic comes up?
Which, hold on. I don't have you down. Which topic?
All dial.
Okay. All right. So, item number 7. Okay. All right. Up next, Mr. George Hudson.
Good evening.
Good
3 weeks ago was the 1-year anniversary of the opening of the Fisher Pier and Park at Campbell Park at Lake Montgomery. I would like to give you a quick update on the park and the pier. After a few glitches, the locking gates are opening and closing on time for the park's stated times. The walk-through gate needs a little assistance at times to completely close because of abuse and may need replacing down the road. Once again, the fencing, gating, and park hours are saving the park and the lake, as both are the cleanest that they have been in years prior. To my knowledge, I could count on one hand the times that boaters or park visitors have been locked in and needed police assistance to get out, and I know of only 2 times that someone decided that rules are not for them and jumped the fence at night, taking lights out on the pier. Police dispatch would know the correct amount of times. I know this because, as most of you know, I have voluntarily gone into the park and onto the pier pretty much daily to greet the visitors, ask about their catch, give history of the lake, and most of all, caution them that the gates were about to automatically lock. And if I have happened to pass by and see a boater, I stop and speak to them, along with trying to get their attention if they're on the water near closing time. I have met hundreds of visitors with a ton of stories. 99.9% of them have thanked me for this information and caution, and the other small percentage only complain about the hours and gates. I do this because I care about the future success of the park and the safety and security of the visitors, the property owners, and the preservation of the lake. Are the times of opening and closing that you voted on perfect? No. They will never be for some, but they are doing the job as intended. Some days it is light for a while after closing, and some days it is dark at closing. The LCPD has way too much going on to constantly go there to let folks out, and I'm pretty sure that I've saved the city a heck of a lot of money by my voluntary work, and this task will only get tougher as the daylight grows and there are new visitors in the park almost daily. But I cannot do this forever. What are the answers? I have suggested additional signs to complement the park hours that state the gates close automatically. In fact, visitors ask me all the time, why is there not sign stating that? They think someone comes and closes it. Maybe compensate a current employee to do what I do, like is done at Alligator Park. I do know that we will all find out how much that I've done and do to help out when I stop doing what I do. I will leave you with these last statements. After never missing a meeting, whether it was in this setting or behind the scenes in the last 4 years when the project began, how in the heck did I miss either a workshop, an agenda in council, or reading about the plans to construct rock and gravel pathway in the park with workout stations? Even though I understand the equipment may have been donated, was there a vote to spend the money for the construction even after the fencing went way over the budget due to pier being redesigned? Thank you, everybody. This has destroyed the park's natural beauty.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Ms. Griffin.
Good evening, council. My name's Debbie Griffin, downtown resident, downtown business owner, downtown property owner. I just wanted to cordially, and also as a new board member of the Lake City Humane Society, which we have representation here tonight. But I would like to invite you guys, if you had in a mood for a steak and want to support the Lake City Humane Society, to come out to Texas Roadhouse on February the 17th between 3 and 10 p.m. They will give 10% of the proceeds that particular night to the Lake City Humane Society. All you have to do is either reference the flyer or tell your wait staff that that's what you're there for, and get you some good old biscuits and a good old steak. Thank you, guys.
Will that include takeout as well?
Yes.
That's a great question. I don't know.
Does? Perfect.
You say it.
So
Thank
whether
you
you
for
dine in or takeout. Great.
Thank you, Noah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Griffin. Mr. Lilker.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's nice to be here tonight. Stu Lilker, the Columbia County Observer. I got a couple things. I didn't find out about this, I'm not exactly sure even what to call it, this thing on the agenda about the Paul Dial severance pay until about 4 o'clock this morning. Why is it that the city, where you pay a city manager $180,000 or thereabouts. You pay the assistant city manager $150,000 or thereabouts. I'm sure the head of IT gets about $100,000 a year. If you add another 30% to that, it probably costs $700,000 a year for the public, for these three people. These are the top brass of Lake City, not the clerk. She puts the agendas together with what you guys have. Why is it that she can't get the material in a timely fashion so the public can't even at least get it by Wednesday? The county's been doing it since 2010, or thereabouts. But this city, with every city manager, they say they could do it, and the reason is, it's always the attorney. I guess they just blame attorneys for everything. You could ask the attorneys about that. They get blamed for everything, and you can see that they're smiling, except for Guy Norris, who doesn't get blamed for anything, apparently. But it's about time that you guys gave the clerk a hand and took care of this, because it's not fair. It's not fair to the public. It's not fair to the taxpayers. It's not fair to you guys, and it's not fair to the clerk. ADA compliance is not rocket science. I don't know why there's still a problem with that, but that needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed soon. Not excuses. Going to conferences does not fix ADA compliance. I mean, and you guys really haven't been that bad lately. The county is just horrible. None of their planning stuff is ADA compliant, and Fort White is just zero. So you don't want to be in that kind of company. I think you guys got to start doing your own. Department heads make enough money, and there's enough staff that everybody can prepare the stuff and have it ready to go on the website at least by Wednesday. And that's what I have. I don't understand why there's an echo in here, but I'll take care of that when you have the bids for the microphones and the magic stuff, which you spent $65,000 for this, and it still doesn't work right. Now, before the meeting, Mr. Rosenthal said they can't hear the echo up there, which I'm sure they can't, but you can hear it here. And the other thing, the final thing, Mr. Chairman, is when the microphones don't work, then IT, or whoever's running the microphones, need to point that out out of respect for the people that are talking.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
All right. That concludes our public comment section. So we will move on. We have no consent agenda tonight. We'll move on to our open quasi-judicial hearing. And this is where I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. Before you, two matters that must be considered and voted on tonight in a quasi-judicial manner. The first is final reading on ordinance 2026-2349 for application ANX 2507, an ordinance considering an application for voluntary annexation submitted by Lake City 47 LLC. And final reading on ordinance 2026-2350 for application ANX 2508, which is an ordinance considering an application for voluntary annexation submitted by Pam Stewart and Scott Stewart. The purpose of tonight's procedure and hearing is to make sure that the parties receive a full and fair hearing on their applications. To do that, we'll proceed in the following order. First, presentations from the city, the applicant, and any party interveners, followed by public comment, then cross-examination by parties and party interveners. Thereafter, if the mayor sees it to ensure fairness, he can allow additional response by a party or participant. Thereafter, we'll receive questions from the city council, and then final arguments and comments from the parties. At that time, I'll advise the council as to law and necessary findings, and the council can deliberate and vote. While the council welcomes comments from all persons with an interest in the proceeding, Florida law requires that the council's decision and quasi-judicial actions be supported by competent, substantial evidence presented to the city council during the hearing on the application. Competent, substantial evidence is evidence a reasonable mind would accept as adequate to support a conclusion. There must be a factual basis in the record to support opinion testimony from both expert and non-expert witnesses. People presenting testimony may support their testimony by relying on factual information provided by city staff, the applicant, or other information included in the city staff report. At this time, I will inquire as to any ex parte communications, but actually before I do that, I think Councilman Jernigan may be experiencing some technical difficulties with his monitor up here.
Don't worry about that. Just keep going.
Okay, good enough. I just want to make sure you could see the presentations. So, Councilwoman Young, have you had any ex parte communications in this matter?
No, sir, I haven't.
Councilman Carter?
No.
Councilman Jernigan?
No.
Councilwoman Harris?
Have not.
And Mr. Mayor?
No.
Okay, thank you. If each person who's going to offer testimony or speak to these applications could stand and raise your right hand and take an oath. All right, Mr. Tabor and Mr. Angelo, do you all each swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? All right, thank you. Council members, you now have before you proposed ordinance 2026-2349 on final reading, which states, an ordinance of the City of Lake City, Florida pursuant to petition number ANX 2507 submitted by Lake City 47 LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company relating to voluntary annexation, annexing certain real property located in Columbia County, Florida, which is reasonably compact into the boundaries of the City of Lake City, Florida, making certain findings of fact in support thereof, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. This time, Mr. Angelo, could you please introduce, summarize, and present the ordinance?
Yes. So tonight before you, you have ordinance number 2026-2349, and this is for application number ANX 2507, which is annexation on Highway 47. At this time, I would like to adopt my presentation and all documents from the previous meeting on January 5th into the record, and that would be all for tonight.
Block.
Thank you.
Mr. Tabor, did you have any presentation on behalf of the applicant? Okay, Mr. Tabor is waiving. Did not see anyone indicating that they had party intervener status. Is there any public comment on this? Seeing none. I'm assuming parties are waiving cross-examination. So, Mr. Mayor, would there be any questions from council members at this time?
Any questions from council? No, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are the applicants and the city waiving final comment? All right, thank you. The decision of the council should be based only on evidence provided by sworn witnesses. In addition, the ordinance may be adopted if the property proposed to be annexed is contiguous to current municipal boundaries or within an area subject to an interlocal service boundary agreement, if the property proposed to be annexed is reasonably compact, and if the property or if the application for voluntary annexation bears the signatures of all owners of property in the area proposed to be annexed, otherwise complies with applicable state laws and does not confer special privileges or rights on any person. This time, the council may discuss the ordinance and any testimony and findings of fact, and should it choose to do so, adopt proposed ordinance 2026-2349.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Do we have any questions, comments, or would anybody like to make a motion to adopt City Council Ordinance number 2026-2349 on final reading?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance 2026-2349.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Thank you, Mr. Jernigan. Any final comments, questions? Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. Now we'll move on to City Council Ordinance 2026-2350. Mr. Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, you have before you ordinance number 2026-2350 on final reading, which states an ordinance of the City of Lake City, Florida pursuant to petition number ANX 2508 submitted by Pam Stewart and Scott D. Stewart relating to voluntary annexation, annexing certain real property located in Columbia County, Florida, which is reasonably compact into the boundaries of the City of Lake City, Florida, making certain findings of fact in support thereof, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. Mr. Angelo, could you please introduce, summarize, and present proposed ordinance 2026-2350?
All right, thank you. Before you tonight, you have ordinance number 2026-2350. This is for annexation 2508. And they're also on Highway 47. And at this time, I'd like to adopt my presentation and all staff reports from the January 20th agenda. And that's
Move
it.
those into the record.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Angelo. And Mr. Tabor, are you presenting or waiving? Okay, thank you. Didn't notice any party interveners. Is there any public comment? Is there any cross-examination? Seeing none, any questions from council, Mr. Mayor?
Questions, comments from the council? No, sir.
All right, seeing none, the parties are waiving final comment argument. Okay. The decision of the council should be based on evidence provided by sworn witnesses. In addition, the ordinance may be adopted if the property proposed to be annexed is contiguous to current municipal boundaries or within an area subject to an interlocal service boundary agreement. if the property proposed to be annexed is reasonably compact, and if the application for annexation bears the signatures of all owners of property in the area proposed to be annexed, otherwise complies with applicable state laws and does not confer special privileges or rights on any person. At this time, the council may discuss the ordinance in any testimony and any findings of fact upon which it wishes to base a decision, and adopt proposed ordinance 2026-2350 following an appropriate motion and second.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Would anyone on the council have any questions, comments, or would like to adopt City Council Ordinance number 2026-2350 on final reading?
Mayor, I move that ordinance number 2026-2350 be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you both. Does anybody have any final comments or questions? Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. Before we move on to the next item, we're going to take a 3-minute break so that we can have a monitor looked at. So. Gavel back into this meeting. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for bearing with us. Well done, IT, on getting that rectified quickly. We're moving on to item number 4 in our open public hearing on the City Council Ordinance number 2026-2347 on mixed use. Mr. Martin, I'm going to let you read this by title.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. You have before you ordinance 2026-2347 on second and final reading. An ordinance of the City of Lake City, Florida, amending the text of the City of Lake City Land Development Regulations as amended pursuant to an application LDR 2503 by the Growth Management Department of the City of Lake City, Florida, providing for amending section 4.1.1 entitled Zoning Districts, establishment of districts by adding an MU, mixed-use zoning district, providing for amending section 4.1.6 entitled zoning districts, definitions of groupings of various districts by adding a definition of mixed use, providing for adding section 4.19 entitled zoning districts, mixed use zoning district, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. We have nobody signed up for public participation on item number 4, so we'll move straight into council comments, questions, or if anyone would like to adopt City Council Ordinance number 2026-2347.
Mr. Mayor, move to adopt 2026 ordinance 2026-2347.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you both. Any final comments or questions on mixed use? Hearing none, Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Young? Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. Now we will move on to item number 5, also open public hearing, City Council Ordinance number 2026-2348 on RMF and raising the height of buildings. Mr. Martin, will you please take this away?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, you have before you on second and final reading, ordinance number 2026-2348, an ordinance of the City of Lake City, Florida, amending the text of the City of Lake City Land Development Regulations as amended pursuant to an application LDR 2504 by the Growth Management Department of the City of Lake City, Florida, providing for amending section 4.9.8 entitled RMF Residential Multifamily Maximum Height of Structures, section 4.10.8 entitled RO Residential Office Maximum Height of Structures, and section 4.14.8 entitled C-CBD Commercial Central Business District Maximum Height of Structures by limiting the height of single-family dwellings and duplex dwellings to 35 feet and all other structures to 85 feet, providing for amending section 4.12.8 entitled CG Commercial General Maximum Height of Structures, section 4.13.8 entitled CI Commercial Intensive Maximum Height of Structures, section 4.15.8 entitled CHI Commercial Highway Intensive Maximum Height of Structures, section 4.16.8 entitled ILW Industrial Light and Warehousing Maximum Height of Structures, and section 4.17.8 entitled I Industrial Maximum Height of Structures by limiting the height of structures to 85 feet, providing for amending section 4.15.6 entitled CHI Commercial Highway Interchange Minimum Lot Requirement by deleting the minimum area and width requirements, providing for amending section 15.7 entitled CHI Commercial Highway Interchange Minimum Lot Yard Requirement by reducing the front yard requirement from 30 feet to 20 feet and by deleting the side and rear yard requirements, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. We don't have any public comment on this item either, so we'll move straight into council comments, questions, or if anyone would like to make a motion to adopt City Council Ordinance number 2026-2348.
Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance number 2026-2348.
Second.
Thank you both. Do we have any final comments, questions from the board? Hearing none, Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. All right. Now we will move on to resolutions. We will move on to City Council Resolution number 2026-012. This is a rereading from our previous meeting. Mr. Martin, will you please read this by title, and then we'll go to public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, you have before you resolution number 2026-012, a resolution of the City of Lake City, Florida, approving that certain agreement between the city and AVI SPL LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company for audiovisual equipment and related professional services, making certain findings of fact in support of the city approving said agreement, recognizing the authority of the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, directing the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, repealing all prior resolutions in conflict, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. I'll now open public comment. Mr. Lilker, have you signed up for this item?
Thank you, Your Honor. This microphone. This is a wireless microphone. Maybe somebody could help explain. I didn't turn on my computer. I kind of read that RFP and remember most of what's in it. That you're getting 8 wireless mics. What are those for? The commentary was to get 8 wireless mics to put up, from what I recall, to the council people, so they could pull the mics closer to them. But if they don't pull these mics closer to them, what difference does it make if it's a wireless mic? You guys just spent $65,000 to have this room redone. Now you're buying 8 new wireless mics. I presume something like this Sennheiser is world-renowned German microphone. And you still have problems. These microphones are supposed to do something to, and I forget the exact words, reprocess the speech or something. Maybe somebody could look at that RP and explain what these magic microphones are supposed to do. Microphones work pretty good if you speak into them and you speak clearly. They seem to work. That's been going on for a long time. As we used to call it in the old days, they called it riding the pot because it was a potentiometer that worked the view meters. Now everything's digital. And a good audio man will sit there and ride those switches. Now they're vertical switches, so that if Miss Harris can't be heard or she's speaking low or Miss Young can't be heard, they turn up the volume, so to speak, on the microphone so that you can be heard. That apparently is not done. That means that somebody who's ever sitting behind the board needs to pay attention. And that apparently is, I don't know if that's done or there's something wrong with these microphones, but I'd like somebody to explain those tens of thousands of dollars that you're going to spend on this. And the next thing is the screen, $10,000 for a screen and equipment that just about nobody uses anymore for these kind of meetings, whether you go to the Florida legislature, or you watch the United States Congress, or you go to a ball game and watch a basketball game, and they got those giant monitors. They're all LED monitors. You can get it for $1,500. You can buy a 100-inch monitor now. It's pretty big. Why this is going to be $10,000 to buy a monitor for another projector when all this stuff can be Bluetooth is beyond me. And the reason I bring that up is because you guys got a $75 million budget, I guess. Maybe, I forget how many millions, not a lot of millions you collect in ad valorem taxes. So all the taxpayers are paying for this. I'm paying for it, my neighbors are paying for it. Anybody that owns a piece of property or buys something in the store will pay for it. So I would ask you guys to consider that before you go out and re-spend all this money.
Thank you.
And maybe we could get an explanation.
Mr. Lowe.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Mr. Dumas? We're closed public comment. That was the only item for public comment, so we're going to have the IT director
Good evening, council.
presentation.
This project here was actually like a second phase for us to add additional mics if we had bigger or had more participants in the room. It's like if we did a roundtable meeting or something such as that. You would have the mics you currently have, plus we'd have additional ones out here for that type of meeting. We once had those in the past, so we were trying to prepare for those type of meetings, but if you so choose, we don't have to do it going forward. The projector and the screen is something we kind of recommend that we kind of fix that up a little bit because it's outdated. I know Miss Young has talked about monitors. That's something we can look into if you guys so choose to.
Thank you, Mr. Dumas. Is there any questions for Mr. Jason, Ms. Young?
I don't really have questions, but I do have concerns because if you look around, we're really, it's a small area. And to add more mics to this small area, I just think it's too much. And I did suggest monitors because we're outdated here. And if we're gonna spend money, you may as well move up to 2026 with the monitors. But my greatest concern is spending this amount of money on these mics and all of the upgrades, and we're talking about a new city hall. We spend all this money now and then getting a new city hall, and you'll find that it probably won't even be enough for the space that we hope to have then. So I don't know that it's something that we need to do right now. I think what we're working with, our mics now, they're very clear, and I think someone has made some adjustments because they weren't this clear before, but I hear it really nicely. I sound pretty good. So I think we're fine with these for the amount of space that we have to work with.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Mr. Jernigan.
You know, I kind of agree with Ms. Young. I just don't think the money needs to be spent, so I'm not in favor of this. What I am in favor of is the equipment that we do have, speak into it clearly, That way the people at home and the people in the audience can hear us speak. So I'm not in agreement with this, spending that kind of money. So that's my take on it. And again, I appreciate all the hospitality that you guys try to do for us and make it convenient or whatever the case may be. But the bottom line is, it's our responsibility. And spending the taxpayers' dollars, that's nonsense to me. What I do say is, speak into the mic and speak clearly that everybody can understand you. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Jernigan. I had a question for you, Mr. Dumas. It's all the cost in this is not just equipment, correct?
Correct.
What else does it include?
Well, you had installation, and there's some transceivers, which is part of the equipment. But to have it integrated into our system we currently have, you'd have to add all the additional stuff into it.
So
And there's training involved also, as well as actually to utilize the new equipment and adjust these things so you guys can hear clearly.
So there was some engineering, installation, network wiring, et cetera.
Correct.
Okay. And then this was not to replace these mics, but to add additional mics for larger meetings that, like the chapter, what was it, 164? Mr. Martin, is that correct?
So recalling that meeting, there were limited microphones available because most all of the microphones in the room were wired, and so there was a lot of microphone sharing down here in a conference-style setting versus being at the dais. So having more wireless microphones would, in that circumstance, have allowed everybody participating in that meeting to be mic'd individually.
Yes, ma'am.
So wouldn't it be wise to just, can't you buy additional mics instead of the whole package?
You can buy mics, but for them to actually work in the system like we have it set up now, you have to buy the receivers that go with it as well. There's no more room to add any more mics to it. We have equipment back there now. We don't have enough of what we have here.
How often would we use the additional mics?
That's a question I can't answer.
That's a good question. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's necessary this time.
Okay, perfect.
I didn't hear.
Sorry, I said I don't think it's necessary at this time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So item number 6, we had public comment. If anybody would like to make a motion to, I guess, dismiss this item, or just it fails due to no. Yes, sir. Mr. Martin.
Mr. Mayor, two things can happen. Either it can die for lack of a motion and second, or someone could move to approve it and it could die on that motion to approve by not receiving a majority. Either way would cause the death of the motion, but it would generally be considered procedurally improper to move to not approve the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Well, it doesn't sound like anybody wants to make a motion to approve it, so, all right. Thank you. We'll move on to the next item, item number 7, which I will now turn over to you, Mr. Martin.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So without belaboring the history on this, I think everybody is aware of the general circumstances regarding Mr. Dial, the city, and the payment of Mr. Dial's severance at the time of his separation, and the execution of the separation agreement at the time by Mr. Dial, by the then mayor and the then city attorney. At that time, or shortly thereafter, the city council retained outside counsel to do a determination as to whether the city had a claim against Mr. Dial. That was the general idea of the 2 Cavendish reports. Did the city have a claim? Following that, not quite a year ago, the council gave direction to me and to the city manager to retain counsel and to pursue that claim. Following the approval of the budget, which allowed money to be appropriated for purposes of paying outside counsel to pursue that claim, Mr. Rosenthal and I reached out to, and on a limited engagement, engaged Guy Norris, an attorney here in Lake City, and the purpose of the limited engagement was to do a litigation analysis and then based on the outcome of that analysis to report back to council on that outcome, and then move forward from there. And if the council decided to move forward with the claim, then to retain Mr. Norris on a broader basis to do that. Mr. Norris examined all of the documents, the history of the matter from the time that Mr. Dial was retained and contracted with the city to be its city manager, all the way through the generation of the Cavendish reports. And I will let him more specifically summarize his findings and his recommendations. But generally speaking, the analysis he did as a litigation analysis was a very different analysis from the Cavendish report and the Cavendish analysis. Mr. Cavendish analyzed whether we had a claim. Mr. Norris analyzed its viability in court, looking at the evidence that would be presented by both parties based on his experience, how that might be received by a jury when they're hearing the evidence. And based on that analysis, the general recommendation that Mr. Norris has, that I have, the city manager have, the three of us jointly, is that the city council, if there is an opportunity to settle this claim prior to proceeding into court, that the city council do that. Following Mr. Norris's analysis of this, as you all know, he met with each of the council members that desired to meet with him. He went through that analysis, he explained it, allowed council members to ask questions of him, and following that, I reached out to Mr. Dial directly to ask if he had legal counsel. He said he did not. I recommended that he get legal counsel because if there was going to be an opportunity to resolve this before proceeding to litigation, it would be now. Not long after that conversation with Mr. Dial, I received a phone call from Mr. Foreman, and not long thereafter, Mr. Foreman related to me that he had been retained by Mr. Dial, and I received a copy of the letter that was transmitted to Mr. Norris that was included in your packet. And from that letter, we bring this matter before you here tonight. And Mr. Mayor, if it please the mayor and the council, I would recommend that Mr. Foreman be given an opportunity to summarize his letter outlining a desire to resolve this matter, and then follow that up by comments from Mr. Norris, and then the council can then move on to discussion.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Martin. We will have Mr. Foreman, then we will have Mr. Norris, and then we will have public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Stu, you're right. It's very echoey in this one spot. That's good. First of all, thank you all for agreeing to allow me to
Actually, yeah, could
speak.
you, angle it up. There you go.
I'm usually the one that's pointing like, talk to the mic. Okay, so thank you all for your attention this evening. I know this is a long-term issue that I'm a very recent comer to, but I did want to, as Mr. Martin indicated, sort of go through my letter. I think we live in a world where we all know we're all entitled to our own opinion, but more and more we all need to recognize that we're not entitled to our own sets of facts. And this is a situation where when you analyze the facts, as Mr. Cavendish did, you're going to reach a conclusion that we think a jury would share, which is, yes, mistakes were absolutely made with respect to the engagement of Mr. Dial under his contract, and then the signing of the separation agreement that was appended to that contract that was approved. There are technical deficiencies. We take no issue with that. We think Mr. Cavendish's conclusions are correct. However, I do want you to keep in mind it took Mr. Cavendish 30 pages to explain the technical issues that rendered that contract problematic. I also want you to remember that in January of 2023, when the council approved Mr. Dial's contract, attached to that contract was the form of separation agreement that about 10 months later would be completed and signed, not just by Mr. Dial, but by the city mayor, who was a licensed attorney, by the city's attorney, and by one of the best city clerks I've ever met, in the one that you currently have in Ms. Sykes. So 3 city officials, and then Mr. Dial as your separating employee, signed that piece of paper together. Again, your attorney took 30 pages to explain why the signature of that separation agreement was problematic. A jury would have to believe that Mr. Dial, at the time he signed it in October of 2023, was somehow more at fault in making a mistake, or at fault at all in making a mistake, by signing that settlement agreement, which I think it's fair to assume, well, it was approved in January of 2023. Here I am in October of 2023. I'm just signing what the council already agreed to. So if mistakes were made, they were made on both sides. Mr. Cavendish's report concludes mistakes clearly were made. I was contacted by Mr. Dial again after Mr. Martin reached out to him and explained that there might be an opportunity to settle this. Mr. Dial and I have had long conversations about this. I think as much as anything, this becomes a business decision for both the city and Mr. Dial at this juncture. There are hard feelings. Mr. Dial is not here tonight. To my knowledge, Mr. Dial is not even watching this meeting tonight because he's concerned about hard feelings. He doesn't want to harbor them anymore. I don't think anyone with the city wants to harbor them anymore. Mistakes were made, lessons have been learned, things have changed. Mr. Dial is happy to sign a mutual general release that will put this matter to bed for everyone once and for all. I do understand that may not be the most palatable resolution from the city's perspective, but I would ask you to keep in mind there is no universe where Paul Dial sues the city of Lake City. None. There's no reason for him to sue the city of Lake City. He's not going to do it. So to pursue this matter further, as Mr. Martin indicated when he was talking to you guys, you're going to have to authorize the expenditure of additional funds to go pursue this. I'll ask you to listen carefully to Mr. Norris, and I'll ask you to review my letter carefully. I think the outcome of that litigation is likely to result in Mr. Dial not owing any money. So with that in mind, I would ask you to consider the offer that's being made to let's all sign a mutual general release. Let's go our separate ways. Let's put this ugly chapter behind us. And I'm happy to address any questions that any of you may have for me.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Well, if you could hang tight, just in case we do have questions during council comments, is that okay?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Mr. Norris?
Good evening, council. I'm Guy Norris, Norris & Norris here in Lake City. Appreciate and thank you very much for the opportunity to represent the council in this matter. It's not taken lightly by a Lake City native, so thank you very much. I really don't have anything to, I've met with 4 of the 5 of you. Mr. Jernigan did not meet with me, so I've rendered my thoughts concerning the matter with 4 of the 5 members of the council. I don't disagree really with anything that Mr. Foreman has set forth. I think that the thing that I believe is really the most important aspect to consider in litigation is, well, what do you think is the ultimate result of that litigation? And sometimes discretion may be the better part of valor in doing that, because no litigation matter is going to give you a guaranteed result. And so I even saw it published, a suggestion that the council advised or passed a motion that suggested that this matter be pursued to a judgment. Well, that very well could be a judgment against the city. And so you have to evaluate what you consider to be in the best interests of the city. And the things that I think are the most important about that is that when the council, when the city of Lake City entered into the contract with Paul Dial, it included a separation agreement. And that separation agreement set forth exactly what were to be the terms of the separation of Mr. Dial's employment with the city. the exact terms of it. That separation agreement includes a reference to 16 weeks of severance pay, which was paid. That separation agreement includes that he shall receive as an additional payment to compensate for his accumulated paid time off, including pre-effective date of any variety, annual and sick leave time at termination, subject to customary payroll deductions. It was to be all of those, not limited to 500 hours, all of them, exactly as set forth in the contract, but not necessarily exactly as set forth under a section that maybe is titled termination, or under a section that is titled severance, or under a section that's titled resignation. But you notice there's no section titled separation. But nonetheless, the contract, the separation contract, is included as the terms and conditions of the employment contract as a whole. In fact, if you turn to the table of contents of the employment agreement, the very first page, bottom of it, Appendix 1, Separation of Employment and General Release, page 12. If you turn in his contract, page 12 is page 1 of the appendix. And it has some blanks. But what are the blanks? The blanks are nothing but dates. Because obviously, when the city entered into the contract, the city did not contemplate the date of separation. It would have needed a crystal ball and some superior powers in order to have contemplated what would be the date of separation for Mr. Dial. You couldn't predict that. It was a matter to fill in the blank based upon the actual separation date. It also provided in the resolution that was approved by the city in December, actually executed by the mayor, the then mayor, on January 3rd of 2023, that, let's see exactly where it says this. Paul Dial is appointed as the city manager and shall serve for an indefinite term, which appointment shall be subject to the termination as provided for in the city manager employment agreement, okay, which includes the separation agreement. And you might note that the date of his employment agreement, an employment agreement that did not come back to the city council for subsequent approval in January, signed by the mayor and the city attorney and the city clerk on January 11 of 2023, it shows an effective date, handwritten in it, of January 3, 2023. So, in my view, what would ultimately be asked of the trier of fact in a litigation matter is the city would be asking the trier of fact to save the city from itself. Also, I think that, in my view, it could be strongly argued that the filling out of the separation agreement, simply dates that were determined based upon the mutual agreement between Mr. Dial and the city council. He offered his resignation, the resignation was accepted. Upon that mutual agreement, it set forth the 30 days for his last day of employment. His last day of employment then set forth all of the dates that were triggered under that agreement with respect to how to calculate the 16 weeks of severance and determining how much accrued vacation, sick leave time, that sort of leave time that he had accrued as of the date of his separation. So it seems to me that this was not a matter at that point in which the mayor, the then mayor, or the city attorney, to whatever extent his discretion might apply. But where the mayor had any discretion with respect to the terms of this contract. The terms of the contract were set forth. They had previously been approved by the council in December of 2023, including the separation provision. It was simply a matter of now the date of termination is set, and he signed the contract. So do I consider that to have been the most advisable way of going about this contract from the start in what was it, October, I believe, through December of 2022 when it was finally entered into? No. But again, I think you are going to put a trier of fact into the position of saying, this is our contract. We don't like it now. We would like you to save us from our contract. I'll be happy to entertain any questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Norris. Ricky, Mr. Jernigan, did you have a question before we go to public comment?
Yes. So, can you repeat what you just said, the last sentence? Can you repeat that just one more time, please?
Well, I didn't read it. It was off the cuff, so I'm not sure that I can repeat it exactly. But what I was just trying to say in conclusion, that I think that if you are to litigate this matter against Mr. Dial, both sides get to make arguments. Both sides get to present evidence. And largely the evidence is going to be the same for both sides as to, this is city government, so these resolutions are on paper, the dates that they were signed, the date of the resignation, all of these sort of things are set, right? But what is ultimately not set is that we have this contract that in parts of it seem to limit when severance pay is applicable and the amount of the leave time that is payable, all of which was negotiated. I don't recall which of you were or weren't on, for the most part, which of you were or were not on the council at the time. But one of the things that you may recall is that you were, on the night that you approved this employment agreement, you were presented 3 different versions of it. You were presented a version of it that Mr. Dial was proposing, that actually, if I recall correctly, was calling for 20 weeks of severance pay. And then you were considering a provision by liaison from the council, Councilman Jake Hill at the time, and the city attorney, Mr. Kennan, at the time. They had drafted a version, and it had some different terms with respect to the leave time. And then the third version, which was called Exhibit C in those minutes, is the version that was ultimately presented to the council as we're recommending that you sign this one, and that's the one that the council approved. And so then it was modified in accordance with the Exhibit C to be that final version that was approved at that meeting. Those revisions were made to it, and it was attached with the resolution that was signed by the mayor on January 3rd, in which he inserted the January 3 date as the effective date. All of these things are set. But what isn't set is the argument that folks are unhappy that Mr. Dial received severance pay and received leave time that they don't think he deserved because it was a voluntary resignation. But the separation agreement does not require it to be or not to be a voluntary resignation. It simply requires separation, termination of employment. And so for that reason, I think that whoever was representing Mr. Dial at any action brought by the city would be making the argument that the city is seeking to be saved from itself. Right? That the city's actions at the time resulted in this series of facts, but now you want Mr. Dial to pay back compensation that was made in accordance with the terms of the separation agreement. And I don't see how you can take the position in good faith to the court that the separation agreement is not a material term of your employment agreement under this circumstance.
Yes, thank you for that.
Thank you.
I get confused sometimes when you attorneys go through all these long spiels.
Well,
But-
we are long-winded. There's no two ways about that.
So we're asking you, we're asking you to save the city from itself, from the mistakes that we made. That's basically what you're saying.
If I were to take on the litigation, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jernigan. Okay, thank you, Mr. Norris. We're going to open it up to public comment, and then we'll come back for council comments, questions. So if you would, please stick around. We do have a couple people signed up for public comment, and we will go in this order: Mr. Lilker, Mr. Lofstrom, and then we'll have Ms. Limley. Okay, then we'll go Mr. Lofstrom, Ms. Limley, then Mr. Lilker.
So I love how Stu gets to rearrange his thoughts, and I had to rearrange my thoughts as he was talking, because I started off with this whole, I knew what I was going to say, and I had it all figured out, and then he confused me. Because he's correct. If it's a separation and it hasn't been specified whether it's he quit or we fired him, and it is simply separation, then we're mad that he quit and we're mad that we paid him, but it was in the agreement and we didn't plan on him quitting that quick. And if he hadn't quit, he might still be here and working and it would never be an issue. But it kind of seems now that it's more the city's issue it was in the contract. If he had never quit, it'd never be an issue. And so that took almost all the wind out of my sails. So there we go.
Thank you, Mr. Lofstrom. Ms. Limley?
Barbara Limley, my concern is the city is throwing away money. Attorneys, they looked at them. Isn't there something called insurance if an attorney screws up, that they have to pay for what they screwed up? You know, there was Kennan, there was Mayor Witt, both attorneys. Why should the taxpayers suffer because of the ignorance or incompetence of those who were in charge of all the documents? And I don't like the fact that all of us that are taxpayers are having to ante up that money for ignorance and incompetence of those that were in charge. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Limley. Up next, Mr. Lilker.
Thank you, Your Honor. A couple of things. There may have been 3 people that signed the separation agreement. 3 people did not execute it. The city clerk witnessed the agreement. She did not execute anything. And I would remind this board, you should go back and not make any decision tonight, but think about this. That Mayor Witt was having a rather troubling time in his life, and he announced at this public meeting that he never read the agreement, that the only reason he signed the agreement was because Todd Kennan told him to do it, Todd Kennan being the city attorney. So it seems that we got 3 attorneys here, the city attorney, Mr. Norris, and I don't forget you, and the county attorney, all being Mr. Dial's attorney. The fact that you're missing is that the first time Mr. Dial got hired, he went to Alaska the first time and interviewed for a job where he told the people in Alaska that the people in Lake City weren't friendly. Then the city came and hired him. Mr. Dial resigned. This is facts. And I wrote all these stories. You go to the Columbia County Observer, go read them. There's all links to this stuff today. It ruined my day. Is that Mr. Dial, when he resigned, he had another job in Alaska, which is why he resigned. Now, Mr. Norris and Mr. Martin and my friend all want to give him $250,000 in severance. Common sense, plain English language is severance is when you quit. He wasn't fired for cause. He didn't quit for cause. The simple fact is he pulled the wool over the city's eyes and quit because he had another job in Alaska. I'd like to know where Mr. Norris's litigation analysis is. That's not fair to the public. I'll put in a request for that. Public never saw this. Why didn't Mr. Martin put that in the agenda? This is apparently his item. Another place where the public gets screwed. You got a bunch of attorneys, a gang, running Lake City. That's just wrong. The public needed to know that. Mr. Lostrom, he didn't get confused. He didn't know all the facts that Mr. Dial had another job and then quit because the people in Lake City at one time, according to him, weren't friendly. So the basic thing is, Mr. Dial terminated himself. 30 pages of decision, and it took Mr. Cavendish to do his paperwork. What difference does that make if it took 30 pages or 1 page? The fact was clear. Mr. Cavendish said the city did the wrong thing. Now, you're either going to set the course for future people to come and screw Lake City and the taxpayers, or you're going to sit and, let me just finish the sentence. Sure. Sit and think about this and look at all the facts and then decide exactly what you want to do for the best interest of the taxpayers and to send a message to people that you don't screw the city council or the taxpayers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Loker. All right, that concludes our public comment on item number 7. So we will move into discussion by council and possible action, but we'll have discussion first. So does anybody have any questions, comments, questions of the attorneys?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Carter.
I just want to start out by saying I was the one who started this ruckus. When this, what I think of as a string of incompetencies started, I was just a citizen. I did not serve on the board at the time. I think the attorneys here today have made lots of really good points. I think when I got here, I wanted to see a wrong righted if possible. I began by pursuing the idea that we may be able to apply or file a claim against our attorney's insurance. It did not seem like something we were able to do once we discussed it with other attorneys. I absolutely think that wrong was done here. I don't think, it doesn't seem like anybody disagrees with that. I absolutely think that that contract was a hot mess. And you don't usually see contracts like that with separation agreements like that. Quite frankly, maybe someone hoped that they got that job and thought they may be separated at some point in the future. Who knows? And I think that the council at the time, which is 3/5 of the council now is different. I think that there were mistakes at the administrative level. Of course, one of the members of the administration was one of the parties signing the document. All I can really say is my assessment after everyone else's assessment is that I don't think we could make a decision here today that doesn't disappoint the taxpayers. I think if we pursue judgment and we fail, we've spent $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 of the taxpayer money, throwing, as you say, good money after bad. I think if we pursue the judgment and we succeed, we've spent $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to get a judgment, and they say he owes us the money. And then we have the arduous task of actually collecting the money, which in and of itself is its own thing. Very well may never happen. Or we can acknowledge that there was indeed a string of incompetencies that led us here. We can ask better of our public servants moving forward And I can promise that for what it's worth, I would never have agreed, signed, approved, or not protested such a silly contract. And in the future, won't. But I do think, in this case, and I'm furious about this as a taxpayer in Lake City, that I don't want to gamble with another $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 of taxpayer money to pursue getting a judgment to get money that we may never get, probably won't ever get. So that's my opinion on this. I think this is rotten. I think it stinks. But I think that the government made this pickle, and we're stuck with it.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Ms. Harris?
After I met with Mr. Norris, because I, like James, I was furious when I found out the details of what was going on. I don't like to play with my money, and I certainly don't want to try to play with nobody else's money. And it seemed like at that time a lot of playing with the taxpayers' money was going on then. But I believe I hate for it to be the taxpayers, but I just would hate for us to go down this road and we don't get what we want. And I can say this, now the council that was here before, I myself wasn't here, the mayor wasn't here, and I don't think Carter was here. But we have to clean up this mess. But what I can say is, if everybody could think back to around that time, it was a lot of stuff going on. I don't want to take up for the council or the mayor that was up here, but there was a lot of stuff going on. There's so many distractions and just a lot of foolishness going on, even in the meetings itself. So I don't want to just say that they were just totally incompetent. I think there were so many distractions, whereas it got them off of their game a little. I don't want to give in to this, but when I look at it, like it sure enough is, I don't want to play with no more money either. So I would have to say that I'm with Mr. Carter on this.
Ms. Young?
As for myself, Journey and myself, we were kind of in the changing hands of the council. We were fresh, if I can use that for lack of a better word. We're here now, and as I said in the initial of my of this, when we had to making a decision to get here, I initially didn't even want to hire another attorney because my words were very close to what was said here tonight. Well, who are we fighting against? Ourselves? If we have a jury, what are we asking the jury? And I like the words. We're asking them to save us from ourselves. And that was my look on it before, and it's the same now. It's not a good look, it's not a good feel. And I do say that there were bad things happening on both sides. As a city representatives, we didn't make a good choice. And I can say Mr. Dow may not have made a good choice. I can't read Mr. Dow's mind. I don't know what is in it. But what I do know is we're here now. And as I said before, we hopefully get lessons from those things which we make bad choices of. When we don't call things the way they should be called, whether it's by intention or whether it's non-intentional. And I can assure you that it was non-intentional on the council's part. I can assure you, I stand firm on that. I believe that. But we're here now, and we have to make a decision. And we've, like they say, we've messed up some money. So do we put money out there again and take a slim chance because I just don't see a jury or a judge scoring on our behalf. I just don't see it. So I would say, as I said before, that we have to swallow this. It's a hard pill to swallow, but we have to swallow this, and we have to move on, but move on with sound judgment. We've learned a lesson from this. We have to pay closer attention to detail. This one slipped by us. It slipped by us, but I learned a lesson, and I'm pretty sure we all have. There was a lot involved, a lot of people involved, and like I say, it was the council before us, and Jernigan and myself, and now the new council, and it's really unfair to all of us. And somebody said that to me today, and I can see that. It's really unfair to all. And even Mr. Dow, I can even see where it's unfair to him as well. Because it could have stopped at a certain point. When we allow people, if we know a person is wrong and we allow them, and we feel like a person's wrong and we allow them, then we're just as wrong as they are. We could have stopped it. So that's my say.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I guess I'll summarize my thoughts. Mr. Cavendish, whenever he came, if I recall correctly, laid out a case that the city had for claiming somewhere around $95,000 because of the overpayment of sick leave, sick and annual leave. I believe that he said that there were differences in the contracts that were presented and the contract that was executed. I'd have to go back and review those notes again. Again, even though I was looking at them yesterday afternoon, there's definitely a wrong done here. And what I'm hearing from our attorneys, and maybe we should go back and consider the AV equipment again for some funhouse effects to keep us all awake while attorneys are pining a case in a public meeting. What I'm hearing from the attorneys is it shouldn't go to trial because that is too much of a gamble of public dollars. There was still a wrong done. And I do think that we have to set a precedent that we're not even a speed bump. We're just a smooth road to run over and claim a check from the city of Lake City. If trial's not advisable, I would be curious as to what settlement would be advisable. And if there is appetite of settlement from the other side, and if not, then we should make a decision based on that. I don't think that I'm okay walking away with nothing for the taxpayer. But I'm one of 5 on a voting board, and that's my stance on it, based on what Cavendish laid out and what we've gone through. And I don't know Mr. Dial. I've only ever sat in this room with him while he was at the dais and I was in the audience. So this isn't personal. This is taxpayer business. So that's my thought. What do we need to go forward, Mr. Martin?
Mr. Mayor, there would need to be a motion from and second and vote on some sort of response or offer to Mr. Dial to resolve this matter. I would say at a bare minimum and threshold would be settlement for the exchange of general mutual releases, as Mr. Foreman suggested. Beyond that, the council certainly could ask for a nominal, or could ask for a settlement amount. I would suggest that the further away the amount gets from a nominal settlement amount, the less likely it is to be accepted by Mr. Dial, and we find ourselves right back where we were before we entered into the discussion tonight. What that nominal amount is, I would defer to the wisdom and judgment of the council. It would be something that would be more of a recommend, or a recognition and token, as opposed to seeking any sort of full compensation or reimbursement, because I think that would get beyond what would be considered an effort at reconciliation.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Yes, ma'am, Ms.
I
Young.
would like to ask the question, with Mr. Dowell's attorney here. Has it been asked of Mr. Dowell if he would be willing to give some of the money back?
Yes, I absolutely had those conversations with Mr. Dial. The scope of my settlement authority is mutual general releases only.
What was that, sir?
That brings us right back.
Mutual general releases only. So Mr. Dial is willing to release the city, and you would release him, and then everything's done with. The reason I'm saying settlement authority, Mr. Martin understands this, and I'm sorry to be a boring, droning attorney. I've told you what he'll settle for. That is settlement authority. If you accept that, we're done. We never have to talk about it again. If you make any sort of a proposal that I have to take back to Mr. Dial, he has to either accept, reject, or counteroffer that. Now, because you're not in active litigation, and again, the only way we get into active litigation is if you file a lawsuit, you cannot have a shade meeting. So every time we negotiate, it's going to look like this. So I did ask Mr. Dial to give me his maximum settlement authority for tonight. That's what I have. Mutual general releases, everybody washes their hands of each other and moves on. That's where we are.
So, Mr. Mayor, building on that, if the council were to make an offer or a counteroffer back to Mr. Dial through his attorney at tonight's meeting, I would suggest that in addition to whatever the substance of that is, that it include a deadline for acceptance, and I would suggest that that deadline not be any longer than 48 hours from the time of the offer at tonight's meeting. And two, that the mayor be authorized to execute the documents to finalize that settlement if it is accepted by Mr. Dial within that period of time.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Discussion, questions, comments? Motions?
Mr. Foreman, do you think that, Mr. Dow would, it almost seemed like the ball is in his court, but do you think that, he could repay the citizens of Lake City the attorney fees that we use, and then we can call it my stuff?
My understanding of the amount of attorney's fees you expended is that he would be nowhere near that on his best day. So again, Mr. Dial did not authorize me to extend any monetary settlement this evening.
Mr. Jernigan.
Well, let me comment on it too, I guess. I hear Mr. Dow, Mr. Dow, again, we have to save this city from ourselves. I think personally what we should do is the mayor, whoever names on those documents, those are the people we need to go after, not Mr. Dow. Mr. Dow did exactly what he was authorized to do, from my understanding. But we got two attorneys involved in this, and those are the people that I think that we should try to get some of the money back if it's possible. But Mr. Dow and Mr. Foreman and Mr. Norris over here, and even our attorney, they've already put everything where we can get it and understand it. So I don't know why we got to fight for Mr. Dow, this, that. We can forget about that. We might as well get the attorney, those two attorneys. That's the way I look at it.
Thank you, Mr. Jernigan. Ms. Young.
That's gonna cost as well. That's gonna cost as well.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Do we have any further questions, comments?
This just, it doesn't feel good at all. just seems like we're in between a rock and a hard place, trying to clean up somebody else's mess. But I can say this, just from looking at the documents that I looked at, Mr. Dow did what he was supposed to. He accepted the money according to the paperwork. I'm just at a loss of words right now. This is just ridiculous.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin, what have we spent so far on this? Or do you know? I'm sorry.
As far as outside counsel goes, the tally of all of invoices received thus far was around $14,000 plus for Mr. Cavendish and Mr. Norris. Mr. Norris, I expect, is going to have another invoice that I would say would be safely south of $5,000. So I don't think it would exceed that. I don't know an exact amount on what time he spent since the last invoice at the end of December.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Mr. Mayor, you voiced your opinion that you'd like to see some sort of a.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have an idea of what you'd like to see?
Yeah, I'd like to see. I'd like to see a token of what. So, when Mr. Cavendish laid it out, it was because there were discrepancies in the executed document, along with the the two contracts that were approved, and so I'd like to see at least a portion of that. In my mind, I know that won't come even close to covering what we've spent or what we paid out, but I would say $5,000 to $10,000 I think would be a good token, and probably at least put a bump in the road for anybody that came along in the future. But I don't know how realistic that is. So
It's not realistic.
Joel's saying those general mutual releases. That's me. Hey, look, I'm one of 5 again. Sure, please, Mr. Foreman.
The Cavendish report was explaining why the second set of council action would be necessary, because the two documents that were approved in January were internally inconsistent. And what Cavendish was saying is you could have done that separation agreement to make it fully enforceable. It should have been approved again by the council because of those inconsistencies, and that would have resolved the inconsistency. I think to Ms. Harris's point, if you do, as Mr. Norris indicated, if it were argued to a jury, again, this is a contracts case, and we all feel, rights were done, wrongs were done. You're talking about equity. That's really not something that's going to come into play in a contracts case and say, what did the paperwork say? Mr. Norris is absolutely correct. The argument Mr. Dahl would make is when the council approved everything in January of 23, and that appendix was attached, and the only thing left blank were the dates, the council approved it in January of 23. Now, Mr. Cavendish's opinion is a legal opinion, and he says, no, you needed to come back. Don't forget the argument, you're suing Mr. Dahl. Mr. Dahl's going to say, I as a layperson had every right to rely on the signatures from January of 23 when I moved forward and accepted the separation agreement in October of 23, even though I didn't have council action. So Mr. Cavendish's legal opinion, I think it's a strong legal opinion. I think he's exactly right. Is a jury going to care? And I think that's Mr. Norris's point when he talks about the arguments that are going to be made. In a contract action, those are the types of arguments we're going to make. And so, again, I wanted to be real careful, not disputing Mr. Cavendish at all. A highly respected, very knowledgeable attorney, knows exactly what he's talking about. He's right, okay? What you're talking about here is litigation, and that's where, not to steal thunder from Ms. Harris, but Ms. Harris said, in many respects, Mr. Dial, as the party who's received payment, is in the catbird seat. And so when you talk about settlement negotiation with him, unless and until a lawsuit's filed, he does have the leverage. And that's where he sits. Just being super candid with you guys, since most of you are my friends. So,
Thank you, Mr. Foreman.
Mr. Foreman, so you don't think you could possibly ask for that little bump that the mayor is talking about?
when it comes to settlement, I never say I never close my ears.
Yeah.
But I will say that I don't believe Mr. Dial is highly receptive to settlement beyond what he's authorized.
Mr. Norris, it appears that you'd like to say something.
Well, I want to represent my client. So, look, what you are in the unfortunate position of doing right this moment is negotiation of a settlement in public. And it's just not conducive, you know, and it's part of the, you know, the situation that we have under the Sunshine Law, which I'm all for. But for example, like when you're hiring someone and you say, well, we want to pay a range of a salary, whatever it is, whether it's 50 cents or $50,000 or whatever. Well, if I'm the employee and the council has given a range from $30,000 to $50,000, what do you think my position is when I go into the negotiations? Obviously, it's at the top of that range. So what Mr. Foreman has explained to the council is that he is here with settlement authority for only two things. One, each side issues a mutual release and ends the matter. Each goes their own way. The second part is that his client doesn't pay any money, okay? And neither does the city. Of course, he doesn't have a claim against you. So I'm here to advise you that you can, here in public, make a settlement offer. And so you can authorize me as your counsel to make a settlement offer to Mr. Foreman and therefore to Mr. Dial of whatever amount you wish, and I will do your bidding and take that to him. I'm obligated to communicate any settlement offer they make. I'm obligated to communicate any settlement offer that you make. Now, if the city authorizes the filing of a lawsuit, then you are in a position to not only continue to conduct settlement negotiations, but then to do them in the course of shade meetings, or where an exception to the Sunshine Law, where we're able to have candid discussions about the case and the merits of the case and the provisions of likelihood of prevailing at trial, and let you consider all of those things under a little greater comfort level, because they aren't heard by the opposing party, which I think is in the interest of the public. So some here in the room might argue that shade meetings are not in the interest of the public. Shade meetings are very much in the interest of the public. So there's a time and place for everything. If this council wishes to make a counter proposal to Mr. Dial, you may do so. Obviously, his counsel will hear it tonight, but he and I will discuss it after that. And I'm happy to entertain any questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Norris. Mr. Carter, you had something?
Well, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Dial's counsel has made it clear that he doesn't believe that he'd be willing to pay anywhere near, I think is what he said, what we have spent, which sounds like it's roughly $15,000 so far, and perhaps just a smidge more than that after that. You'd like to see a $5,000 to $10,000 pound of flesh. We'd all like to see it over. I suggest that we ask Mr. Dial to pay us $5,000 and we sign mutual aid agreements, and it's not a negotiation. If he accepts that offer, we all go our separate ways and see about not doing this again. And if he doesn't, I say we move forward with the original plan.
Do you want to set a 48-hour, Mr. Martin said?
Absolutely.
So I was going to ask if there was a deadline associated with Mr. Dial accepting that, and would the mayor be authorized to sign the documents necessary to consummate the agreement if he accepted it?
48 hours sounds good to me, and I'm fine with the mayor accepting that.
What's, you say the initial plan?
Litigation.
So if he says no to the $5,000,
Mm-hmm. I think everyone in the room has agreed that he got an amount of money incorrectly. No one's confused about that. It's been years now. We're going on it. I think a pound of flesh is more than fair. And I mean, again, there has to be some sort of precedent set that we will take this seriously. Clearly, for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, I've taken it really seriously. I very much dislike how this whole thing is going, and I will do everything I can to make sure that nothing like this happens again while I'm up here.
So we have a motion for matters of, and it's just been clarified. So if we get a second, then we'll have discussion.
I make a motion. I explain what I think we should do. I will make a
I'm sorry.
motion.
I'm sorry. I thought that you said I make a motion to.
Well, while he's explaining, go ahead. I want you to continue to explain.
I move that
I thought you said you was gonna explain.
He did.
I
He did
explained
just
it
explain.
just a moment ago.
Yes, I know.
Make a
So can I comment on your?
Yeah. Before he makes a motion, please.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to do that before you make the motion. But if you want to make the motion, I'll tell you then too as well.
I'm sorry. I thought he made the motion. Mr. Jernigan, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. The attorney over here, again, I'm not an attorney. I know how they explain things, and they know all the words to use, the right words to use. But it's clear that Mr. Dow is not going to accept. I don't care if it's $5. He's not going to accept that. It's clear that we are going to lose this case. To me, I'm only speaking for me, okay? So, I mean, we keep bouncing back and forth. Nobody wants to see the citizens of this community pay for wrongdoing that we have done. And when I say we, I said the council. I'm not talking about Carter. I'm not talking about the mayor. I'm not talking about Ms. Harris. Let's make sure we get that understanding. And we, as councils, Ms. Young and I, we didn't even know it was executed. I don't think you guys understand that. So when I say we, that's what I mean by that. They did this behind the scenes. If it was behind the scenes, that's why I say the attorney and the mayor at the time, those are the people that did this to us. So it's clear that Mr. Dow is not going to pay for any of our wrongdoings, period. It's clear.
Well, I think that if we go to litigation, we most certainly will lose money, but Mr. Dow will also, because his attorney will demand to be paid. And I can guarantee you it will be more than $5,000. So, you know, Carter said 5, but I'll say 750 or either 10. But, you know, you're almost speechless when you're trying to come up with something, and it just seems like you're at a loss. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go with Carter. If it goes to litigation, that means the city will pay, but Mr. Dow will also pay. And I'm thinking he will end up paying more than $750,000 to $10,000.
Ms. Young.
And we're at this point where we don't know what to say. We're speechless because we're trying to make wrong right, and we can't make wrong right. The space we're in now, we just have to do what's best. We can't do what's right because we're beyond that. Can't make wrong right, so we have to do what's best. Now, do you really think it's best to go to litigation? We're here and we have these attorneys in this room, and we're hearing that.
We don't want to. We're not edging to go to court. We don't want to. But at the end of the day, like the mayor said, we can't just keep, this case is separate. What if something else come up next week? It'll be somebody else feeling like they can roll over the city without any accountability. So
Our focus better be different. Our focus better be different. Now, we can't be tampered over like this. We can't say that we won't catch this. But we can't we can't say we're gonna punch him because he punched us.
Mr. Carter, you had something to say?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've made it clear that I think that the attorneys are right. This would be a bit of an uphill battle, but I do not think that there is no case, to be clear. And if we had to go to litigation, I do not think that it's impossible that the city comes out on top. I think is clear. And again, I don't care how many pages it took to explain that something wrong happened. Something wrong happened. And also, I agree that there are multiple people who were at this dais who absolutely should have handled it really differently. I think we had an attorney that was not very familiar with municipal law. I think we had Mr. Mayor Witt just lost his son. I have no desire to speak ill of him.
Right.
But he said himself in this meeting that he did not read what was put before him. Neither of them are here now. If they were here, I would suggest to everyone in the city that we remove them for this. But that's not an option for us now. But wrong was done, and if we went to trial, I think there is a case. I don't think it's just a cut and dry. And Mr. Mayor, I move to offer Mr. Dial $5,000 and a mutual release from the city and himself. I think it's a little piece of something, and we can leave, or we can get on with all the good projects we have going on. And to be clear, yes, our focus should be on high alert all the time. Mine has been since I got here, and I hope the rest of ours are from now on.
You reformalize that motion, Mr. Carter, please.
I move that we offer to sign mutual aid agreement, mutual releases, and $5,000 paid to the city.
Do you want to put a timeline on that, Mr. Carter?
48 hours, and I am okay with the mayor accepting said offer. And if we, but not a back and forth, not a negotiation, not 2 more meetings, nothing of this. That's the offer. If not, I say we move forward.
I second.
And
We have a
to be
motion, a
clear,
second. Now, more, yes, sir.
And the mayor
Discussion.
signed, just specifically in the mayor's office, to sign the documents.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
May I read back the motion?
yes,
Okay. I wrote it up while everyone was talking.
sure. We have a motion and a second.
Okay, yes. Okay, so this is what I understood Mr. Carter to say initially. A motion to authorize Guy Norris to make a settlement offer to Mr. Dial in the amount of $5,000 in the signature of mutual general releases. That, of course, on both the city and Mr. Dial. The motion includes authorization for council to move forward with the original plan of litigation. If Mr. Dial refuses the settlement offer, there is a 48-hour deadline that the mayor authorized to sign documents if accepted by Dial. Did that capture everything, Mr. Martin?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
Thank you. Before we go to council comment, we've got public comment on this specific,
There's a motion on the floor. There has not been a second yet.
I'm sorry, there was a
Harris-
second.
Ms. Harris
Yeah,
did second it,
There was a
yes.
second.
These darn microphones.
Yeah. So we will now open it up for the public comment, Mr. Lilker, and then because a proposition has been defined, we'll go from public comment back to council comment, final remarks, and then a vote.
Thank you very much, Your Honor, which is where this public comment should have started in the first place about this thing. I think 2 weeks is too short. I mean, 2 days is 48 hours is too short. It should be by the next meeting, so it could be announced. Notwithstanding that, if you want to give Mr. Dial 48 hours, which is clearly your prerogative, and you execute whatever agreement it is, but I don't know that you really should execute it. You got in trouble the first time with having a document executed that nobody saw. Now, and I don't mean any disrespect to Mr. Carter because I think his intentions are fine. Now you're saying you want to make a motion to allow the mayor to execute a document which you haven't seen. So I think what would be fair to Mr. Dial, his 3 attorneys here, Mr. Norris, Mr. Foreman, and Mr. Martin, is that he have until the next scheduled meeting to respond. I think that's fair to Mr. Dial. It gives him plenty of time to think about it. and the public would know what's going on. Notwithstanding that, I think it's just crazy to approve a document that nobody's seen. We don't know the exact words, and you just got in trouble with this before. So I rest my case. If that's the case, though, when you approve that, I would respectfully request a press release go out to all the local media announcing that the mayor has executed the agreement, and a copy of the agreement go with the press release. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Lelker. Ms. Young, you indicated first.
Yeah,
You
but
want
I
to
wanted to
speak?
say, but he said exactly what I was gonna say. We just sat here and gave instructions to do what we're sitting here in trouble about right now. That document need to come back. I'm not saying we don't trust you, Mayor.
I'm not the mayor not the mayor when it happened.
Let's do it the proper way.
Mr. Jernigan, and then Mr. Martin.
Thank you for recognizing me, Mayor. We're town councils, and you have the mayor, and that's exactly what we are. We represent the people of our district and this community, Lake City, Florida. When it comes to litigation and people saying they want to execute this, they want to do that, and that mayor signed this, I mean, we got a sitting attorney right here to give us instructions. That's the reason why we have an attorney, not for Carter to talk about what he wants, and not for Ricky Jernigan to say what he wants, or even the mayor to say what he wants. We should be getting advice from our city attorney to see if we're headed down the right road. Just like when we talked about the 48 hours. In my mind, I'm thinking, 48 hours? I don't even know if Mr. Dow's in the country or not. You know, so you have to get that legal counseling from our city attorney before we make another mistake or get back in the wrong area. So it appears to me that the city attorney should be telling us which way we need to go. And hopefully, he's leading us in the right direction and not the wrong direction. Again, I'm not an attorney. I don't think nobody up here is one. But we need that legal advice from our attorney moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Jernigan. Mr. Carter had something, then Mr. Martin.
Real quick. Mr. Foreman, is your client in the country? Are you allowed to tell us?
Is he in the United States? I honestly don't know.
It's fair.
You know what I'm saying? 48 hours.
He's reachable by telephone.
Thank you.
Do you find that 48 hours is enough time for this, one way or the other? Do you have an opinion?
I wouldn't, yeah, the answer will be forthcoming fairly quickly, I would imagine. The answer will be forthcoming fairly quickly, I would imagine. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm understanding what Ms. Young's concern is, and you know, so I don't know that timing is as big an issue for my side as it would be for yours.
Sure. Also, to be clear, it's not the same thing as what happened before because the council didn't authorize the signing that happened before. In this case, we'd be authorizing, and to be clear, if the document said anything other than a mutual release and money, then we'd be having another lawsuit, I reckon. I don't think there's anything wrong with my motion there. I don't mind the mayor signing a document that says exactly that. Mr. Martin.
Mr. Martin.
And excuse me, I don't think I would be comfortable proceeding with the mayor signing something without it coming back to this body if the motion were not as simple as what it is. And to be clear, and the other attorneys can add to this, general mutual releases, to be clear. If the city had any claim, whether we know about it, don't know about it, think we know about it, whatever it is, if there's any potential claim that we might have against Mr. Dial as of the date of that document, once we sign that release, it is gone. We have a new baseline. Now, anything happens after that, different ballgame. Anything before it, whether we knew about it or didn't know about it or whatever, the claim is gone. Same thing with him. Any claim he may have against the city to that point, arising from his employment, arising from things that may have been said about him by others, because there was a non-disparagement element of the separation agreement. Anything he may claim that was said as a result of the non-disparagement agreement in the separation agreement itself, anything like that, any claims he may have, any wrongs that he claims may have happened to him when he employed with the city, they're gone. So those two documents are very comprehensive. They're mutual and final in their nature. And then the other element of this is that the city get a check or some other tender for $5,000. So it's only because of the nature of the simplicity of what we're talking about that I would even remotely suggest that it not come back to council and that the mayor be authorized to execute those documents. It's merely the simplicity. If it's anything beyond that, it would have to come back to council.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Ms. Young?
I'm just sitting here thinking, how much have we paid Mr. Norris, attorney?
How much have we paid Mr. Norris? I think the first invoice was $3,800. We haven't received an invoice for the time he spent for the last roughly 30 days or so.
And tonight?
And tonight, right.
Why did we pay Mr. Norris? What did we expect from him?
We expected for him to do what he did initially, which was to give an analysis of our chances if we proceeded into court. In other words, we were asking him to be our attorney for the litigation. Any attorney, when they're approached with a matter for litigation, is going to do exactly what he did with their client. They're going to sit down, they're going to look at the case, look at the evidence that's going to be offered by both sides, and make some sort of analysis that the client can rely on regarding what the chances are of success, both for the battle and the war. The battle being the case itself, and then if we win the case and we get a judgment, then winning the war, which would actually be to get the money.
Thank you.
And what did he give us? What direction did he give us that's best for us? What did we get out of it?
So his recommendation, and again, feel free to come up and correct me, but the gist of his recommendation is that if the city has an opportunity to settle this with Mr. Dial on mutually acceptable terms without litigating this matter, that the city make an effort in doing that. That was his recommendation, that ultimately, there weren't any specific numbers involved, but if there's a way we can resolve it short of litigation, we make an attempt to do that, because litigation is uncertain.
And the term he used, that we would go before jury, I must go past just judge, that we would go before jury and ask jury to save us. We paid for that. And what do we do with it? I'm not against asking Mr. Dial for whatever amount. We can ask him, he can only say yes or no. But as far as, taking it any farther, I think it's in our best interest. But yes, I agree, we can ask him, and he can say yes or no. But I don't believe we should use the taxpayers' dollars to. Did you take that off of your motion? Is that?
I did not.
You left that on there? I don't think you said it.
Mr. Norris, you want to come back up? Ms. Harris, you had a question.
All right, so I'm thinking, I'm still with Carter, 48 hours to answer. And by the next council meeting, something be in place, whereas the council can go over it and say yeah or nay, go forward. But he has only 48 hours to answer to whether we're gonna do what we're gonna do or not.
I'm fine to amend the motion to have us approve it, but I still, because, I mean,
He only has
it's a-
48 hours to answer.
It's a yes or no proposition,
72,
So
come back with an answer.
the way we would word that would be 48 hours to accept, and then to perform following an approval of the documents at the next council meeting. Does that make sense, Mr. Foreman and Mr. Norris? Am I okay? All right.
Are you amending your motion for that?
I will amend my motion that the mayor does not sign until it comes before the council one more time. I mean, until it comes before the council, if it is indeed accepted, et cetera.
Mr. Norris, you had something to add?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to be sure that what I've indicated to the council is clearly understood. In a lawsuit, both sides present arguments. Both sides present evidence. What I'm saying to the council is that the other side will be arguing that the city is asking you to save it from itself. That is not my argument on behalf of the city. If I'm tasked with litigating this case on behalf of the city, which that is not what I was engaged on. As Mr. Martin said, it's a limited engagement, just an analysis base at this point. But if we go to litigation, I'm going to craft pleadings, and we're going to go litigate that case, and we're going to try to litigate it to win. Okay? But my point to you tonight in a public meeting is that the other side is going to characterize the case as the city is asking you, the trier of fact, that means a jury or the judge, depending on how the case comes out as to whether it's jury or non-jury, asking you to save it from itself. That's going to be the argument. Okay? And that's going to be somewhat of an argument, difficult argument to get past because of the nature of all this. I do not represent former Mayor Witt, but I do want to point out to the council members who are lay people, while Mayor Witt may be a lawyer that's licensed to practice law in the state of Florida, he was not retained as legal counsel for the city. So he was the mayor. He is not the city's lawyer, and so he cannot be sued for malpractice in this matter. All right, and so you know there are other measures that Mr. Carter alluded to that might have, you know, if he were still in office or what have you, that you might want to take. But anyway, that's really neither here nor there. But I just want to try to be clear about this, and so I'm not going to go and argue to a jury, hey, save my client from itself. I'll do a little better argument than that.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Question from Ms. Harris.
I
One
do
last one.
want to say this, Mr. Norris. I do understand that, but at the same token, if we do happen to take it to court, let's just say we take it to court, that means he's going to have an attorney. That means he will spend more than $5,000 that the city is asking for.
I could not agree more.
It might not be the attorney that's saying, oh, this is a slam dunk or whatever, and we got this. But at the end of the day, Mr. Dow won't have to pay that man. And he will pay more than $5,000. So, yeah, we already out of money. So if he give us $5,000, he ought to be skipping to the bank to write that check.
Mr. Mayor, can we hold a vote?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harris.
Thank you very much. Ms. Sykes, please recharacterize the motion, and we will then call the roll right after.
Motion to authorize Guy Norris to make a settlement offer to Mr. Dial in the amount of $5,000 and the signature of mutual general releases by both the city and Dial. The motion includes authorization for council to move forward with the original plan of litigation. If Mr. Dial refuses the settlement offer, there is a 48-hour deadline for Mr. Dial to accept with any settlement offer coming before the council at the next meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Sykes. Please call the roll.
Okay. Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
I'll say yes.
Okay. Mr. Jernigan?
No.
Okay. Mayor Walker?
Yes. All right. And now we'll have a 5-minute recess. There we go.
There's chocolate at the back of the room. Okay.
Go ahead and gavel back in.
I'll start leaving on my desk. So
Welcome back to the City Council regular session of February 2nd, 2026. We are now on to resolutions of new business. Item number 8, City Council Resolution number 2026-015. This has to do with the Sunrise Consulting contract renewal. It's not necessary that we read these by title, so we will just go by with substance. Mr. Rosenthal, you want to say anything about this before we discuss?
Absolutely, Mayor. I think this has been a good investment for the city. It helps having a voice down in Tallahassee. We've gotten a $700,000 airport fuel truck, and we've also gotten over $100,000 in runway lighting. And it's just good to have a voice there, and the grants are showing that.
Several grants, and we've got several active legislative asks this session as well that they're moving forward for us. So I also think it's been a huge payoff. Anybody else want to say anything or make a motion? We'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make that motion on resolution number 2026-015.
Thank you both. Do we have any further comments, questions? Hearing none, Ms. Sykes, please call the roll.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. Now we're moving on to City Council Resolution number 2026-016. This has to do with a stump clearing contract with Looks Great Services of Mississippi Incorporated. Mr. Rosenthal or Mr. Johnson, you want to say anything about this one before we go to council comments, questions?
Just a regular 3% increase from the last contract, and then it's still the lowest vendor.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions, comments from the council? Anyone want to make a motion for City Council Resolution number 2026-016?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that resolution number 2026-016
Second.
be approved.
A motion and a second. Thank you both. Do we have any final questions, comments? Hearing none, Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. Moving on to item number 10. This is City Council Resolution number 2026-017. This is for plat delegation to Growth Management Director for permit expedition. Anything else you want to say about this one, Mr. Rosenthal?
Mayor, this is just giving the Gross Management Administrator the authority to accept and review and receive and process plats and plat resubmittals. It'll help speed up our permitting process.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal. Mr. Carter, you had something that you'd like to say?
No.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Anyone would like to make a motion for City Council Resolution number 2026-017?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that 2026-017 be approved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion in 3 seconds. Do we have any final questions, comments? Hearing none, Ms. Sykes, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Jernigan?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yay.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. Moving on to item number 11. This is City Council Resolution number 2026-018. This pertains to our last meeting that we held in conjunction with the county on the feasibility study. Mr. Rosenthal, would you like to say anything else about this?
Yes, this is just a feasibility study. It's going to tell us whether or not that combination is even practical.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal. Anybody else have any questions, comments? I'll entertain a motion for City Council Resolution number 2026-018.
Mayor, I'd like to move that resolution number 2026-018 be approved.
We have a motion.
Okay.
We have no second on this one. So motion fails for lack of a second, unless somebody would like to second that. All right, motion fails. All right, item number 12, which is discussion and possible action to consider appointment to Planning and Zoning Board to fill unexpired term through October 31st, 2028 for seat 3F. The applicant is Kendria Jones.
Mr. Mayor, is Ms. Jones here?
Mr. Martin, you had a question as well? I don't believe that Ms. Jones is here. Ms. Jones? No. Mr. Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just going to try to jump in before a motion is formally made and suggest that rather than there be a motion to appoint Ms. Jones, the motion be, if there is one, to direct staff to return to the next meeting with a resolution appointing Ms. Jones.
Thank you. Thank you. So, if you would, if we do come to that conclusion, please do that. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to direct staff to bring that back in resolution form. I would also like, so having previously served on the Planning and Zoning Board, and having watched quite a few of their meetings recently, all the time, actually, I love that boring stuff. Obviously, the only requirements in city code to serve on that board is that you are of age and are a resident. So there's no official vetting process at all with that. Kind of falls down to us and whether or not we here deem whoever applies suitable. So, and I don't know how to go about it, whether it's something that we can do officially or whether I can just make a suggestion. But when a resolution comes back with the possibility of someone being appointed to that board, I think that we should ask them, at the very least, to be here, to allow us to talk to them, meet them, determine things like, do they know what it does? Do they know what's expected of them? Why do they want to serve, et cetera? Because obviously we don't have to appoint just anyone who applies. We want to appoint people who we think will do well at the job. So when that comes back, if nothing else, Mr. Angelo, I'd like to see them be invited to come and speak on their behalf in that regard, so that we at least are allowed to vet them.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Ms. Young?
So are we not approving this Ms. Kendra Jones because she's not here, or because the resolution is not?
The resolution.
Why the resolution not?
He's asking because he wasn't sure that we would approve to have that appointment made, I guess.
Okay, because it's on here for discussion and possible action, so we should have had a resolution.
Right.
This is how the last several appointments have been handled, is that they were brought before council to recommend somebody for appointment via future resolution. And so we just handled it the same way the past several have been handled.
Okay, well, I've spoke with Ms. Jones, and she's very interested, and she does meet the requirements, so.
Almost everyone does.
And I'm sure she'll be at the next one.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Yes, ma'am.
Whoever the applicant is, not necessarily Ms. Jones, I kind of, before I say yay or nay to them, I kind of would like to meet them and know who they are, maybe ask them some questions or what have you. I don't want to blindly say, yeah, put them on the board, and I don't know them from Adam's apple.
Oh, I didn't say do it. I didn't say do that. I just asked the question.
No. I'm just saying that's what I want to do for now. Not just her. Anybody that comes up to try to be on the board or wants to be on the board.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jernigan.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. And yeah, like I've told everybody before, I don't know exactly when I said it, but anybody who wants money, they want donations, they want to be on the board. I don't know why people don't come up here and present whatever they're looking for. But some people can just come up and say, hey, I want monies, and then next thing you know, we're giving out money. We have no idea who these people are. And I've said this before, anytime somebody want to be appointed to any of these boards, or they want money from the city of Lake City, I think they should come up here and let us see who they are, what they stand for. I mean, that's simple.
And also, Ms. Kendra may not even know she's on the agenda.
Sure.
So did anybody reach out to her?
That would be
I never knew.
Mr. Angelo.
I don't even know who she is.
Yes, as far as reaching out to Ms. Kendra, I did reach out to her and let her know that she would be, this would be on the agenda for tonight. I wanted to make sure that she was aware of it.
Okay.
Mr. Carter.
I have a question too. It occurred to me, it's been a while. Obviously, it's been a few years since I was on the P&Z. I don't recall having any kind of background check done. I mean, do we do any of that? I know I provided information, name, et cetera. Do we do any sort of background checks at all? I know we're not required by code, but do we?
I do not know that.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to find out. I'd like to, if I can be frank, for my own personal opinion, that board is not functioning as well as I think it could. And I think part of the reason is because of the lack of all the things I've just stated that we need to probably be trying to do there. So I would like to find out if we aren't doing that, is there a precedence, like are they usually, et cetera? Mr. Martin, do you have?
So on the issue of criminal background, I think the application asked the question, have you been convicted of a felony, which if there is a felony conviction, that would be prohibitive constitutionally in Florida. But beyond that, I don't think there's any inquiry as to background beyond that. Ms. Sykes is...
I believe she filled out the old application. I don't believe she filled out the new one, if I'm not
That is
mistaken.
correct.
Yeah, so she did not fill out the new application that I believe asks that question.
Okay.
How did she get the old one?
It's been a while since she applied, number one.
Mr.
Okay.
Andrew
Yeah.
did not realize we had updated the application.
Correct.
And I did send him the revised one, and I don't know if he forwarded it to her to fill out or not.
I did, but I don't know if she got it. I mean, I emailed it to her. And I would ask council if it's something that the council would like to do going forward. And, maybe we can look at the whole process and put some more criteria in as far as somebody to be on the board. And, if that's something the council wants to do, we can look at other jurisdictions and bring something back to council at a later date and kind of show, hey, this is what some other jurisdictions are doing, and then get some direction.
Sure, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I would just follow up that. Yeah, I personally would really like to see that ship tightened up a little bit. In addition to the other things I've alluded to, there's a lot, I've noticed a lot of tardiness or absenteeism with some of the members of the board that I find frustrating. I understand that it's a volunteer position, but if it's not something that is important to the people who are serving on it, they shouldn't. So I would like to see have staff come back with some recommendations, ways we may be able to tighten that up and make sure that the people that we're appointing will perform well.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Mr. Jernigan and then Ms. Young.
Go ahead, Ms. Young.
Oh, Ms. Young.
What took so long for her application to be viewed and her given the opportunity to become a part of this?
So we wanted to make sure we were fair and transparent. So that we wanted to go out for advertisement, advertise the application process, and gave a little bit of time for people to apply. And being that we didn't get any other applications, we proceeded to move forward.
Okay, you do realize she applied way back. It's been a long time.
It was back in, I think, December when she applied.
Oh, it was before December, I'm pretty sure. Because she's talked to me twice, and the last time she talked to me is when I actually talked to administration to pull her application and let us get her in here and find out what's going on as far as her becoming a part of this board. And I sure hope that we don't, as long as it's been since she applied, I sure hope that we don't kick her around with these new ideas we coming up with about a person being on the board.
No.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Mr. Jernigan?
Yes, I just want this board to understand that when you talk about a volunteer position, keep in mind when these applicants put in for these positions, it's volunteer work, and just like Mr. Carter said, it's volunteer. So if they're not going to come at every meeting, they're going to be tardy. They got to work. They got to do all these other things before this meeting takes place. So just keep in mind as we move forward that we can't be too hard on them, but we can't be just lax with them as well. So keep in mind that this is a volunteer board that's appointed by us. So just want to make sure everybody understands that.
Thank you, Mr. Jernigan. Any other thoughts, questions?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Did we have was there a defined motion to bring that back as a resolution, or are we just coming to a consensus?
Did there need to be?
If I'm hearing a consensus, if that's what we're going to do, I'm fine with that. So
Okay. I think that
that's
there's
enough for me to do what I got to do.
there's a consensus for you to, right, everybody, for him to bring back a resolution to our February 17th meeting to approve Kendria Jones to the Planning and Zoning Board. All right, great. All right. Well, that concludes all of our items on tonight's agenda. We will move straight into departmental and administrative comments, and we will begin with you, Mr. Rosenthal.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to let everybody know that the police department has completed its annual report. It's either in your boxes or will soon be in your boxes. Also, we had a lot of water breaks in the past couple of days because of the inclement weather. Sunday, our teams, led by Steve, were out all day, 3 trucks running constantly, and that continued on into today, with most of our trucks out, turning off water and helping people get ready for when the water starts flowing again. So our staff always does exemplary work, and this past storm situation, or not storm, but ice situation, was no different.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal. Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did want to give a report back on last Tuesday's ADA conference that Ms. Sykes and I attended. The focus of the session we attended was I'll give you the long hyper-technical term. It's the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.1 Level AA, or 2A. That's the long technical term for it. For the city, what that means is
I just want to mention when he finishes, I forgot to mention something for the chief. The chief wants to talk to the board.
Sure.
Something to-
Okay.
Mr. Martin.
Anyway, so that's a long way of saying that there have been new guidelines put in place by the federal government concerning the ADA that local governments will have to comply with. For the city of Lake City, that compliance will have to happen by next April. It is more comprehensive and daunting than I anticipated it would be. It is going to require a team effort of all personnel in the city, particularly key administrative personnel, directors, and above, administration, legal, clerk's office. I think everyone has to play a part. What it did bring to light as well is that the city does not have an officially designated and somewhat trained ADA coordinator to coordinate all elements of the American with Disabilities Act, not just the web content guidelines that we're currently subject to. Without turning this at this time into a full-blown workshop, I would just say that it would be my recommendation that the council reconvene on this issue and that the city manager work with council to designate a coordinator and to look at overall compliance with the ADA. And as part of that, as an immediate issue, start looking at implementing the new web content guidelines, because we can't start that next April and expect it to come into place. It needs to start pretty quickly, and it's going to take some training. I mean, on my part, the way I develop documents, things that I typically bold in a contract, I probably shouldn't bold, so that it's easier for people to read and easier to convert into a web accessible document. Use of pie charts, use of graphics, things like that we use routinely in our growth management reports are things that need to be revisited. It's a very holistic approach. So, but it was a very good conference, much better than I expected.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Ms. Sykes.
I think Clay summed it up about the ADA stuff. It was more comprehensive and daunting than we both realized, and we do definitely have to do a lot more meeting on that. The only other thing that I'd like to say is I just want to express my heartfelt condolences to the family, to former Mayor Stephen Witt and his family on the loss of his son. And just to let everyone know that that funeral is tomorrow at Gateway Forest Lawn at 2 p.m. Just wanted everyone to know that.
Thank you, Ms. Sykes. Vice Mayor Young.
Oh, I don't have much. Just want to say welcome to Lake City, the Snow City.
Yeah, right.
I didn't have water for a few hours Sunday morning, but I'm just grateful that everybody was safe. And we've been here a long time, y'all. Blame you. So, call it right at night. But y'all have a good night, a very good meeting.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Young. I'm going to bounce back before we go to Chief Butler and Don Rosenthal.
Thanks, Mayor. I just want permission from the council. If you recall, a few months ago, we retired one of our police dogs. He reached the maximum age. We were in the process of looking for another dog. I have a canine officer selected. We do have a citizen that's always been interested in our canine unit, and over the years, she's donated some equipment. She found out the dog we were looking for at the kennel that we use, and she gave the kennel the money to purchase the dog and wants the kennel to donate that dog to the police department. The cost of that dog at a minimum would be about $5,000. They're going to be doing the medicals this week to make sure the dog passes all the medicals. But it's not fair to the kennel to be housing and feeding the dog for the month it'll take me to get a report to council. What I'm looking for is authorization from the council, as long as the dog passes the medical, to accept the dog. And then at the next meeting, I will submit a report to council for the council to officially accept that donation.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know what we gotta do to have him, get that dog, but whatever we gotta do, whatever, language we have to use, let's make sure he gets that dog, please.
Oh, that dog, but what kind of dog is it?
It's a German Shepherd.
Yes, get that dog, man.
I think we're all of consensus that that's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Fine,
Okay.
as long as there's no legal concern.
I think that's something that the city manager could authorize under his authority for the amount of money we're talking about.
All right. Consider it authorized, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Very good. Mr. Jernigan.
Oh, my. I had the honor to be at the retirement for Judge Johnson, and I would like, if it's possible, Mayor, if we could do a proclamation, give her the key to the city. She's been serving the city for a long, long time, and you think about a 6-year-old coming from Cuba, going out to Huachicalla, whatever they call it out there, and then coming to Lake City. I think that's memorable of her. So if we can do a proclamation to get her here at the next meeting, I would really, really appreciate that. I don't know if that's possible. You know, whatever y'all do, that's fine.
I think that's awesome and possible. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. And also, I love my dentist down here. There's a dentist in there, Lisa Palmerton or something to that effect. Very professional, and as always, I'm always trying to promote different businesses. And if you have some issues dental-wise, I love my dentist is definitely the place to go. Not saying anything about any other dentists around Lake City, because there's a lot of them, but this lady stood out from the rest, so y'all keep that in mind. And again, the fire department, City of Lake City, police department, and public works, I saw them out all weekend doing that snow. I mean, it was. Most people know that lives in the country as long as we have. You let your water drip throughout the night, and that way it won't freeze up in the morning times. But getting that information out to our constituents, I think it would help them understand. Anytime we get freezing temperatures, just let that water drip just a little bit. Of course, you have to pay a little bit of money, but it's best to pay a little bit than a lot. I think everybody understands that. Right. Also, I'm going back to Paul Dow, and I think that we, anytime it comes to spending citizens' money, I do not like that. And if we could resolve this as soon as possible, I would love to do that. I would love to see that happen. I take my feelings out of it. I just want to do what's right by all of our citizens here in Lake City. So y'all keep that in mind. So thank y'all very much for everything y'all have done for me, and all the way from the city clerk all the way down to finance, HR. There's a lot of moving parts to the city of Lake City, and we're doing the right thing. So I have a comment for the next meeting for the mayor and Carter. So y'all keep that in mind.
Thank you, Mr. Jernigan. Up next, Mr. Carter.
What?
I left y'all out, so I'll take care of y'all next time.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, all right. That's a tough act to follow, I'm telling you. I just had a couple quick things. The ADA compliance, I'm glad you guys went there and learned that stuff. I think that it makes a lot of sense to go ahead and start figuring out who this coordinator is going to be. Obviously, it's a citywide task. I think probably looking into having an ADA audit done on the city would be helpful. It would give whoever we put in charge of maintaining this compliance a list of things to do. So probably need to look at what's involved in that. Next April will be here before we know it, and we don't want to be catching needless lawsuits, et cetera. I was wondering, I know in the recent past we were working on putting together an agenda workflow process sort of a situation. Are we into the workflow now, Ms. Sykes?
We have sent out the instructions for the departments to start to familiarize themselves with the directions. We are going to hold a mandatory in-person. We're probably going to split it amongst 2 days. We were going to try to do it this week, but we may push it to next week. The election kind of took over my last week.
Sure.
We want to do a hands-on, then bring their laptops, and we work through an entire mock agenda, per se, for everyone to kind of work through the process and see how it's going to work. So we're getting very close. They have the directions, they have their login, and so we're ready to go. We just need to do some more training with them.
Well, that's excellent, because I don't know about the rest. I won't speak for everybody else, but it is my opinion that very generally I would like to see that agenda out by Wednesdays. That gives everyone a really reasonable amount of time to be able to review everything. I understand that emergencies happen and some things just have to be added last minute, but I really hate seeing stuff added at 5 o'clock on a Friday or Monday. And I know I'm not no blame at one person, not fussing at anybody in particular. I know it's a process, but I just want to throw down a challenge to see if we can't start getting that thing out at an approachable time for the board and the citizens. So with that being said, again, I hated that he had to even be spoke about tonight, but I've known Mayor Witt for a long, long time, and I think he's an excellent person. Grateful that we had him here to serve us for 20 years, and I've known Trevor Witt since I was a teenager, and he was a very, very sweet, kind person, and I'm heartbroken to know that he's gone, and I can't begin to understand what Mayor Witt must be going through. So I do want to offer my deepest condolences to him for that. And with that being said, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Ms. Harris.
Yeah, I have a couple of things to say. I had spoke with Dee and Don today, and I'm going to read exactly what Dee wrote down, and then y'all have any questions, y'all ask him, okay? I asked him to write it down, so. I'd like to request that staff present a plan of action for rehabilitating our city-owned and maintained parks at the next regular council meeting. Any questions?
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
I'll read it one more time. I'd like to request that staff present a plan of action for rehabilitating our city-owned and maintained parks at the next regular council meeting. Okay, have y'all been to Young's Park lately?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we need some stuff going on out there. A lot of them, the toys and stuff, they need to be redone. That's what that means. He just dignified to put it on there. All right, and at the same thing, last year when I first got into office, I spoke to Mr. Johnson about a splash pad for the children. I met with him, G.I., and Mr. Steve Brown to talk about where we can put this splash pad at. So that will be one of the things that I would like to be incorporated in that as well. And I'm gonna tell y'all why I want all of this done, okay? All right, I also want staff to identify any urgent safety or maintenance issues that need immediate attention, as well as any general improvements that can be made in the budget this year. Now, he have to tell you that. What was talking about then with Diddy?
So we have came across a few pieces that have been dry rotted that wasn't, so we don't know in general everything. Steve's gonna do an analysis and we could bring it back with some pricing and maybe some alternatives and give y'all some idea of what is needed to make it safe again.
Okay, so with that being said, the year 2026 we've just been in one good month, and there have been so many deaths and, just hellacious things that have been happening. And so I was in Tallahassee, and one of the things I did, I Googled Lake City. And one of the things Google said about Lake City, It says some good stuff, but it also says some bad stuff. And Chief, I know that's in the county, it's not city. But I did end up talking to 4 of the county commissioners about putting together what we would call a Festival of Love. I told them that we're gonna need funds, and we're gonna need big funds from them because they got more money than us. So all 4 of them agreed to it. So what I want to talk to the council about, and I want you all to think about this, is that we get together with the county and maybe do something for our city that will represent love. I mean, we have the festivals and all of that, but I think that our citizens and the world need to see the county and the city working together to do something big that says love. Any comments?
I have a comment. We ain't gonna fight, but we gonna have to box because I asked for a splash pad 2 years ago.
Oh, we ain't got to fight. We just gonna get it done. We just gonna get it done. We just gonna get it done, cause D gonna make it happen. Cause I be on him. I be on him and Steve, and I'm grateful that, we have a great team in Lake City.
We do.
If the citizens just knew what they have when they look up here, they would be so proud of the things that we have accomplished and the things that are to come. I mean, we have the best fire department, and I don't say this lightly. We have the best fire chief and his, all of his people. I mean, city manager, even down to our work crew. We have the best of the best right now. And I am so proud. And we have the best mayor. I shouldn't say the best Noah, but we have the best mayor. And when I go to Tallahassee anywhere, I be telling, I say, oh, that's my mayor right there. He's the best in Lake City, Florida. Or some of them might say he's the best on this side of Mississippi. But I brag on us because I don't want that narrative to stay out there that we're like this criminal-ridden place. You know, that kind of hurt my feelings, especially when I know that we're this council and all of the people that make this city great, what we're trying to do right now. We're working through a lot of the stuff that previous things that has been done, and I say it again, a lot of distractions. So I don't just put that on the council and stuff, but there was a lot of distractions that were going on for the last 10, 12 years. But now we're in a place right now that we're trying to make things work. And I have a question for Don. I asked that each department say what they did in the year 2025. And we have a lot of good stuff, but I told him to condense it because I want the Lake City Reporter to know, okay, these are the things that we made happen in the year 2025. And I want the rest of the council to agree to let's talk about what we got going on, the great things that we have going on. Okay? And I'll also like to say Noah Walker has the best city council person in the world.
That's right.
You talking about me?
Okay.
Ms. Young.
Councilwoman Harris, and we think alike evidently. But in March, there will be a great expo of the city of Lake City. We're working on that, and it's in the budget. And each department will be displayed. So that's kind of the same thing what we're saying. They'll say what they do and how far we've come, and it's going to be really awesome. And I think that's the same idea that you have.
That's great too. But I want it to be in the Lake City Reporter. So if they don't come to that thing in March, they'll be able to read about it. If a company wants to come to Lake City, Florida, they'll be able to look it up in the newspaper and say, hey, they this, they, and that. It ain't like it used to be. Because they have the A-team right now. Mm-hmm. I call us the A-team.
That's part of the fire department.
And with that being said, Mayor, I yield the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. All right. I apologize. I'm going to be a little long-winded as well. First of all, I'll go over the events that are coming up. We were notified tonight by Friends of the Humane Society. They're going to be doing a fundraiser on February 17th, 3 to 10 p.m. That's 10% off donation night at, it's a 10% donation night. So if you go and eat at Texas Roadhouse, it's not off, but 10% of your bill will go to the Humane Society. That includes takeout. There will also be a complimentary, or Coffee with a Cop, which includes complimentary coffee and conversation. This will be at Panera Bread on February 4th. That's this week. In fact, that's 2 days from now, Wednesday, at 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. So join us there, Coffee with a Cop. Again, that's complimentary coffee and conversation with some of Lake City's very best. Celebrating the contributions of African Americans in American history. There's a ton of stuff happening in February, so I'm just going to go through the list. There's going to be a history scout. This is all put on by Our Community Cares. You can find out more information at facebook.com/ourcommunitycares.ne Florida. The February schedule includes History Scavenger Event. This is going to be on the 11th at the Lake City Historical Museum, on the 15th from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Lake City Library Main Branch, on the 20th, 3 to 5:30 p.m. at the Swanee Regional Library in Live Oak. Flight to Freedom, St. Augustine to Fort Mosey. On the 26th, free tickets available at any event. Movie Matinee on the 14th. This is going to be 6 p.m. in Jasper City Park, and then on the 22nd, 6 to 8 p.m. at Darby Pavilion in downtown Lake City. And then there will be a jazz and soul brunch on the 21st, 11 to 2 p.m. at Wayside Park in White Springs. All right. I'd also like to mirror the comments about Judge Leandra Johnson in her long career. Very excited to do the proclamation and key to the city on that one. Unfortunately, I was sick and was unable to make it to it. I also want to praise the water crews. Saw them out fixing some busted backflows, those big backflows on the side of the road. So cheers to them, because I hate the cold. I hate being wet. I hate being cold and wet. So good on them for getting out and getting it done, and helping folks get water back in their businesses and residences. I'm excited to see ADU expansion come up. I talked to Robert about that a little bit before the meeting. So that's coming. We had some great state meetings last week. Delegation went over to Tallahassee. We met with both Bradley and Brannon and some other legislators, pushing our city's legislative agenda and trying to serve our citizens best so that we can optimize our tax spend here and get help from the state. So we appreciate very much our partners at the state level. Tonight we talked about in the CRA. So I'm going to jump way back to the very beginning of us getting here. So CRA, we developed and I love this, that we're developing a carrot to redevelop bits of downtown in our city and to raise property values and beautify our city. But we have another district here that overlays the CRA that we're purely regulatory on, and that's the historic district. And I'd kind of like to see us shift in a way that is similar to what we're doing with the CRA, or maybe less restrictive as to what we are now. And I know that we were that way in the historic district back in the 2010s, 2000s, in our last iteration of it. How would we move with that, Mr. Martin? What would we have to do to revert back, or either create a carrot for historic preservation, to incentivize historic preservation without, how would we do that?
Thank you for dragging out the question and giving me a moment or two to think.
You mean thank you for lawyering it?
Yeah.
You're welcome. Welcome for lawyering it.
So, if I understand the question, we have a historic district. As you point out, it's largely regulatory.
Yeah.
It overlays the CRA district. The CRA is taking a renewed focus on grants as an incentive to encourage redevelopment.
Beautification, yeah, in terms of a historic context, yeah.
And so with the historic district, how would we shift back to either a more incentive-based or less regulatory framework for that district? As you pointed out, and based on my recollection, there really have been only 2 iterations of the historic district as it relates to the land development regulations. There were the original regulations that were put in place that recognized that we had a state and a federal designated historic district, but that in and of itself doesn't carry any regulations with it. They have to be designated under a local historic district. Our old regulations allowed people to voluntarily subject themselves to that district. Around 2020-something-ish, the regulations pivoted and changed and made and implemented a regulatory structure that required nearly every change to a historic structure in the historic district to be approved by the Historic Preservation Agency. So it went from a voluntary basis with few incentives to a regulatory basis that had requirements in place that was enforced by the city through its Historic Preservation Board. I would suggest the way to go back to what we had would be simply to repeal what we've got and go back to the original framework, knowing that right now it is coupled with the city's efforts to actually encourage beautification, revitalization, and redevelopment in the CRA, which largely overlays the historic district. So that would be my suggestion, is that we just repeal what we've got and go back to where we were.
Okay, interesting. My thought around that too was, and I didn't want to convolute the program that we created, or that we're moving forward with, but was how could we implement at a future date more of a carrot method of incentivizing historical preservation to do things like what are happening in certain buildings in downtown High Springs, where they all have a very cohesive look and feel about what's going on there. And I think that we can play an active role in that. Yes, sir, Mr. Carter.
I just want to say, I previously served on the Historic Preservation Agency. I consistently found it frustrating that it felt like it was our primary job there was to tell people what they couldn't put on their roofs, right? It was most of the time it felt like we were just inconveniencing people, right? And this is just my personal opinion. I've had these thoughts for a while. I would like to see what you're suggesting, some sort of incentive, right? Rather than just the government saying, you can't put that on the roof, it doesn't look like this or that or the other. And furthermore, unfortunately, our Historical Preservation Agency efforts didn't begin until like the 90s, when many of these buildings were irrevocably changed in some way, so that what you end up getting is a glorified HOA as opposed to something that is actually reaching some sort of historic look and uniformity. And I think that uniformity should be the goal there, as opposed to, no, you can't change those metal tiles to metal planks, even though the house right next to you and the house on the other side has shingles, right? Like that's a frustration for people who want to move into the area, for people who may want to develop in the area. So as you're moving forward with what you want to see done here and hoping to encourage some sort of a new system, I think that the uniformity should be the goal, to where you come into this area, this is a historic district, and it looks a certain way. Mm-hmm. And one of the confusions is that because, like I said, many of the houses in that district had been changed so much, or many different styles of houses that have been built that may not necessarily be historic. I don't know what you would do, and I don't know what it would cost, but I agree it's finding some way to incentivize rather than just, I don't know, kind of bullying people into certain things would be nice.
And it sounds like part of that would be a shift reversion back to that former historic preservation. I'm going to let you and Don and Robert work on that and bring, if that sounds good,
that's
to
fine,
the board
Mayor.
to bring something forward. Okay. Last, I'll say, as always, because I had other things to say, but it's almost 9 o'clock, that we're, as a council and as a city, working to improve safety, beauty, and quality of life in Lake City. And I want Lake City to be the premier municipality for families and businesses to coexist together and move forward. And so that's what we're doing here, folks. And I hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you for bearing with us, and see you next time.